The smell of French fries and the sound of sizzling burgers filled the air as Marcus wiped down another table at McDonald's. His red uniform was spotless, his name tag perfectly straight. At 17, he took pride in his work, even if it was just a part-time job to save money for college. It was 2:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, the lunch rush winding down. Marcus had been working there for 8 months, and he'd seen it all. Crying kids, impatient customers, and the occasional difficult person. But nothing could have prepared him for what was about to walk through those glass doors. The woman entered like she owned the place. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight bun, designer sunglasses perched on her head despite being indoors. She wore a white blazer that screamed, "I want to speak to your manager," and carried a purse that probably cost more than Marcus made in 3 months. Karen, though Marcus didn't know her name yet, surveyed the restaurant like a general inspecting troop. Her eyes landed on Marcus, who was finishing up cleaning a table near the entrance. "Excuse me," she said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "This table is dirty." Marcus looked at the table he'd just cleaned. It was spotless. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I just cleaned that table. Would you like me to wipe it down again?" Karen's eyes narrowed. "Don't ma'am me. I'm not that old. And yes, obviously you need to clean it again, because it's disgusting." Marcus grabbed his cleaning cloth and wiped the already clean table once more. "There you go. Is there anything else I can help you with?" "You can help me by doing your job properly the first time," Karen snapped. "Where's your manager?" "He's in the back office." "Is there a problem I can help solve?" Karen laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You? Help solve a problem? Kid, you're the problem." Other customers started to notice the commotion. A few pulled out their phones, sensing drama about to unfold. Marcus felt his cheeks burn with embarrassment, but he kept his voice steady. "I'm sorry you feel that way. Let me get my manager for you." "Don't bother," Karen said, settling into the booth with theatrical disgust. "I'll deal with you myself. I want 2 Big Macs, large fries, and a Diet Coke. And I want it fast." Marcus nodded and headed to the counter to take her order properly. Karen followed him, her heels clicking aggressively on the tile floor. "And make sure those fries are fresh," she added loudly. "Not the garbage you've been serving other people." Marcus input the order with practiced efficiency. "That'll be $12.47. Karen threw a $20 bill on the counter. "Keep the change. Maybe you can buy yourself some manners." As Marcus processed the payment, Karen continued her assault. "You know what your problem is? You kids today have no work ethic, no respect. When I was your age, we knew how to serve customers properly." "I understand your frustration," Marcus said calmly, handing her the receipt. "Your order will be ready in just a few minutes." "My frustration?" Karen's voice rose another octave. "My frustration is that places like this hire kids who don't know the first thing about customer service. Look at you. You can barely make eye contact. In my day, we have been fired for such poor service." Marcus felt something inside him shift. He'd dealt with difficult customers before, but this woman wasn't just being rude. She was being cruel, and she was doing it loudly, making sure everyone in the restaurant could hear her trying to humiliate him. "Ma'am," he said, his voice still respectful but with a new edge to it. "I've been polite and professional. I cleaned your table twice, took your order correctly, and processed your payment. I'm not sure what else you'd like me to do." Karen's eyes lit up like she'd been waiting for this moment. "What I'd like you to do is show some respect. I'm a paying customer, and I deserve better than some teenager's attitude." "You're absolutely right," Marcus said, and Karen smiled triumphantly. "You do deserve better. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect." Karen's smile faltered slightly, sensing something different in his tone. Marcus continued, his voice carrying clearly through the restaurant. "You deserve to be treated the way you treat others, with kindness, patience, and understanding. The way I've been treating you since you walked in." The restaurant had gone quiet. Even the kitchen staff had stopped what they were doing to listen. "You see," Marcus said, "I've been working here for 8 months. I've served thousands of customers. I've dealt with people having bad days, people who are tired, people who are stressed. And you know what? Most of them are decent human beings who understand that we're all just trying to do our jobs. Karen's face was turning red. How dare you? But then, Marcus continued, there are people like you, people who think that paying for a hamburger gives them the right to treat service workers like trash. People who think that because I'm young, or because I work at McDonald's, I'm somehow less than human. Several customers started nodding. A few even started clapping quietly. I'm 17 years old, Marcus said, his voice gaining strength. I work 25 hours a week while maintaining a 3.8 GPA. I'm saving money for college because my family can't afford to send me. I take pride in my work, no matter what that work is. And I deserve to be treated with basic human dignity. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I want to speak to your manager. Of course you do, Marcus said with a sad smile. Because when someone calls you out on your behavior, your first instinct is to try to get them in trouble. But you know what? My manager is going to ask me what happened, and I'm going to tell him the truth. I'm going to tell him that I provided excellent customer service to someone who was determined to be unhappy no matter what I did. The kitchen timer dinged, and Marcus's co-worker brought out Karen's order. Marcus placed it on a tray with the same care. He gave every order. Here's your food, he said. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that maybe, just maybe, you'll think about how you treat people in the future. Karen grabbed the tray, her hands shaking with rage. This isn't over. Actually, said a voice from behind her, I think it is. Karen spun around to see a woman in her 50s, holding up her phone. I've been recording this entire interaction. This young man has been nothing but professional and respectful while you've been absolutely horrible to him. You can't record me. Karen sputtered. It's a public place, the woman replied. And I think the internet will be very interested in seeing how you treat service workers. Other customers started murmuring their agreement. One man said, that kid handled that better than I would have. Another woman added, she should be ashamed of herself. Karen looked around the restaurant, realizing that everyone was staring at her, and none of them were on her side. Her face went from red to white in seconds. She stammered, then grabbed her food and rushed toward the door. But Marcus wasn't done. Ma'am, he called out, stopping her at the exit. You forgot your change. Karen turned back, confused. What? Marcus held up $7.53. Your change. You paid with a 20, and your total was $12.47. But you said I could keep the change, Karen said weakly. Marcus smiled, the first genuine smile he'd shown since she'd arrived. That was before you tried to humiliate me. See, I don't accept tips from people who treat me like garbage. I have too much self-respect for that. The restaurant erupted in applause. Someone shouted, You tell her, kid. Another person yelled, That's how you handle a Karen. Karen stood there for a moment, holding her food, looking like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Finally, she snatched the change from Marcus's hand and stormed out of the restaurant. As soon as she was gone, the entire restaurant burst into cheers. Customers came up to Marcus to shake his hand and tell him how well he'd handled the situation. The woman who had been recording asked for his name so she could mention it when she posted the video online. Marcus's manager, Dave, finally emerged from the back office. What's all the commotion about? Several customers started talking at once, explaining what had happened. Dave listened with growing amazement, then looked at Marcus with pride. You handled that perfectly, Dave said. Professional, respectful, but you didn't let her walk all over you. That's exactly the kind of employee we want representing McDonald's. But the story doesn't end there. The video of the encounter went viral within hours. The woman who recorded it, Sarah Martinez, was a local news reporter who had been grabbing lunch between assignments. She posted the video on her social media with the caption, This teenager showed more class and professionalism than most adults I know. This is how you handle a difficult customer with dignity and respect. By the next morning, the video had been viewed over 2 million times. Local news stations picked up the story. The hashtag respect service workers started trending. Marcus arrived at work the next day to find reporters waiting outside. His manager met him at the employee entrance. "Marcus," Dave said, grinning, "you might want to call in sick today. Or better yet, take a vacation." "Why?" Marcus asked, confused. Dave showed him his phone. The video had exploded overnight. News outlets were calling it the most professional takedown ever, and how to handle a Karen like a boss. But more importantly, the video had caught the attention of someone special. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, the admissions director at State University, had seen the video. She was so impressed with Marcus's poise, articulation, and character that she reached out to him personally. "Marcus," she said during their phone call, "we've been following your story. We're prepared to offer you a full scholarship to our university, including room and board. Your SAT scores and GPA are impressive, but what really caught our attention was your character. That's not something you can teach." Marcus was speechless. A full scholarship? He'd been working and saving for years, hoping to afford community college. Now he was being offered a full ride to a four-year university. But the surprises weren't over. 3 days later, Marcus was featured on a national morning show. The host asked him how he'd managed to stay so calm and professional under such difficult circumstances. "My mom always taught me that how you treat people says more about you than it does about them," Marcus said. "That woman was having a bad day, or maybe she's just used to treating people poorly. But I didn't want to stoop to her level. I wanted to maintain my dignity and hopefully show her that service workers deserve respect." The interview was watched by millions, including the CEO of McDonald's Corporation, who was so impressed that he personally called Marcus to offer him a position in their corporate training program after he graduated college. Karen, meanwhile, had been identified through the viral video. Her name was Karen Henderson, and she was a middle manager at a local real estate firm. When her boss saw the video, he was horrified. Karen was put on administrative leave while the company decided how to handle the situation. But perhaps the most surprising development came a week later. Marcus was working his usual shift when a familiar figure walked through the door. It was Karen, but she looked different. Her hair was down, she wasn't wearing designer clothes, and she looked smaller somehow. She approached the counter nervously. "Excuse me," she said quietly. "Is Marcus working today?" Marcus emerged from the back, and Karen's face went pale. "Hi," she said. I was hoping I could talk to you." Marcus looked at her warily. "Okay. I want to apologize," Karen said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I saw the video. I saw how I looked, how I acted. I was horrible to you, and you didn't deserve that. No one deserves that." Marcus studied her face. She seemed genuinely remorseful. "I lost my job," Karen continued. "My friends have seen the video. My family is embarrassed. But you know what? I deserved all of that. I've been treating people like garbage for years, and I told myself it was okay because I was having a bad day, or because I was stressed, or because I was paying for service." She took a shaky breath. But watching that video, seeing myself through other people's eyes, I realized I'd become someone I didn't like. Someone my mother would be ashamed of. Marcus felt something unexpected. Sympathy. "Thank you for apologizing," he said. "That takes courage." Karen nodded. "I'm starting therapy. I want to understand why I felt the need to treat people the way I did. And I want to make amends." She reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. "I know this doesn't fix anything, but I wanted to give you this." Marcus opened the envelope to find a check for $5,000 and a letter. The letter was a heartfelt apology and an explanation that she'd started a scholarship fund for service workers pursuing higher education. "You don't have to forgive me," Karen said. "I don't expect you to. But I want you to know that you changed my life. You showed me what grace looks like, what real strength looks like. I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be a better person." Marcus looked at the check, then at Karen. "I accept your apology," he said. "And I hope you find the peace you're looking for." Karen smiled through her tears. "Thank you. And Marcus, congratulations on your scholarship. You deserve every good thing that comes your way." As Karen left, Marcus reflected on the incredible journey that had started with a simple encounter at McDonald's. He'd learned that standing up for yourself doesn't require cruelty or revenge. Sometimes it just requires maintaining your dignity and speaking your truth. The viral video had changed his life, opening doors he'd never imagined. But more importantly, it had apparently changed Karen's life too. She'd hit rock bottom and decided to climb back up to become better than she'd been. 6 months later, Marcus started his freshman year at State University. He kept his McDonald's uniform as a reminder of where he'd come from and the lessons he'd learned. He studied business and communications, with plans to work in corporate training after graduation. Karen, meanwhile, had completed her therapy and started volunteering at a local food bank. She'd taken a lower-paying job at a nonprofit organization, dedicated her life to helping others instead of tearing them down. The scholarship fund she'd started had grown to over $100,000, helping dozens of service workers pursue their educational dreams. And Marcus? He never forgot the lesson he'd learned that day at McDonald's, that how you treat people in your worst moments reveals who you really are. He'd chosen to be someone he could be proud of, and that choice had changed everything. Sometimes the most powerful way to destroy someone's attempt to humiliate you is simply to refuse to be humiliated. Sometimes the greatest revenge is living well and treating others with the respect they tried to deny you. Marcus's story became a reminder that dignity isn't about your job title or your bank account. It's about how you choose to treat other human beings. And sometimes, that choice can change the world. The teenager who was supposed to be destroyed had instead destroyed the very idea that service workers deserve less respect than anyone else. And in doing so, he'd built something beautiful, a future filled with possibility, respect, and hope. That's what really shocked everyone. Not the confrontation, but the grace. Not the viral video, but the lasting change it created in two very different lives. Sometimes the most powerful victories are the ones that transform everyone involved, turning a moment of conflict into a catalyst for growth, understanding, and redemption. If this incredible tale of courage, dignity, and unexpected redemption touched your heart, you're going to love what's coming next on One Love Stories. Smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're bringing you the most jaw-dropping, heartwarming, and absolutely shocking real-life stories that will restore your faith in humanity.